Hello, my miraculous friend. This is Reverend Frances Faden. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a really important topic: how to spiritualize money and ambition, two things that I think are greatly misunderstood, especially by people on the spiritual path. But before we do that, let's do what I always like to do, is to take a few deep breaths together, just to get ourselves grounded and centered and really ready to receive this message today. And if you're driving, as always, please keep your eyes open and keep your eyes on the road, but you can still bring your awareness to your breath. And as you are focusing on your breath, allowing your awareness to become more and more centered in this present moment, because the present moment is where the divine dwells. It's really the only moment that we all ever have. And as we bring ourselves right into the here and now, we start to feel that divine presence loving us, supporting us. We start to become aware of that energy. And that is one of the beginning things that we need to do to be able to magnify our miracles, is become aware of that divine presence, loving us, guiding us, and supporting us. And knowing that you're going to hear whatever it is that you need to hear today to move you powerfully forward. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. All right, well, welcome once again. And today's topic: how to spiritualize money and ambition. It's such an important topic for those of us who are light workers. And I'm going to be speaking to you as a light worker, as a spiritual entrepreneur, as somebody who is here with a big vision, and you're here to make a difference on the planet. You're here to be a positive force for good. Now, that could mean that you are a spiritual entrepreneur. That's what you do, similar to the work that I do. Maybe you're a coach, maybe you're a mentor, maybe you're a healer or an artist or something like that. Or maybe you're somebody who is a spiritual person and you also have a business and you're wanting to, bring your spiritual values into your business. Either way, it's perfectly fine. But I am speaking to you because I think for those of us who are really dedicated to the spiritual path, we get a lot of mixed messages around money and a lot of negative energy around the word ambition. And, I've studied a lot of different things throughout my life as an interfaith minister, and I've studied astrology because I love the psychology of it, and how the different planets represent different aspects of ourselves. And that energy of Mars, the planet Mars, which everybody has, that planet, is a part of each and every one of us. And it's very connected to that energy of your drive and your ambition. And it gives you the energy to do that. So from my perspective, if we weren't supposed to have ambition and drive, why would we have it? Why would we have it? Why would the divine give that to us? Well, I want to share with you something from one of the most powerful saints to ever walk this planet, Paramahansa Yogananda. And if you've been listening to my podcast, one of the very first episodes I did a book review of his book, Autobiography of a Yogi. It's one of my all-time favorite books. That book changed my life, and it continues to change my life. I reread it every year. And I really am so grateful for Paramahansa Yogananda, because he is the first Eastern master. He's the first person from the East to come and actually successfully live in the West. There were a couple that came before him. I still think Swami Vivekananda was the first, but they were not able to live here. And Yogananda came in 1920, and he was able to establish a work here. And he lived from 1920 until 1952 when he left his body. And so he really embodied this energy of East and West. How can we bring these two things together? So I was going to talk on a completely different topic when I sat down to do this podcast episode, but I got a divine download to share something with you. So I'm going to read to you something from Paramahansa Yogananda. There's something called, there are these little cards. I'll hold this up for you if you're watching me on YouTube. There's these little cards called paragrams. And a paragram is a little message from Paramahansa Yogananda. And I'm going to put in the show notes a link. If you want to buy a pack of these, I think it's like, I don't know, $2-3, something like that. I'll give you the link where you can buy these from the bookstore. And I love these. I use them like oracle cards. You know me, I love oracle cards. So I pick one out and I take that as my message for the day. So last night I was doing my one of my personal message circles, one of my private personal message circles where everybody gets a message. And this particular one was with Yogananda. So I pulled this card to see what our theme was, and it was on ambition. Now, just for a moment, I'm going to ask you, when you hear the word ambition, how does your body react to that? Does your body go, ooh, yeah, bring it on? Or does your body cringe a little bit like, ooh, ambition? I'm not so sure about that word. I'm not sure how I feel about that word. A lot of us have been told, especially women, that ambition isn't a good thing, that it means that we're reaching for too much, that that's an energy of the ego. And then what ends up happening is we don't get very far with our healing practice. We don't get very far with our business. We don't ever actually finish the book that's going to go out and bless millions of people. We stop dead in our tracks because we have a negative voice in our head telling us if you're a spiritual person, you shouldn't have ambition. Well, I'm here to tell you, you need ambition to become self-realized. You need that energy of desire to become self-realized if you want to be enlightened. The desire to know God, it's a huge ambition. To be able to dedicate your energy and your life in that direction takes a lot of ambition. And so let me read to you what Paramahansa Yogananda said. And I really want you to take this in. We cannot live happily by spiritual sustenance alone, nor by material prosperity alone. It is only by having ambition and by crowning that ambition with the idea of service to others, either by helping them individually or by working for some great cause, that you will find a spiritual reason for making money for yourself and for others. To help others to help themselves also spiritualizes ambition. An almighty power has linked us all together. Whenever you help others, you are helping yourself. So, my friends, I want you to take that in. I'm going to read that to you again in just a minute. But this great master, this self-realized master, is saying to you, your life can't be lopsided. You can't have one or the other. You can't just go live on a mountaintop. I mean, you can try, but every person I've ever met that tried to live on a mountaintop eventually gets called down from the mountain to go and share what they've learned to help other people. So if your heart is centered in helping other people, that's an ambition, but it's a really positive spiritual ambition. The only time you need to be concerned about ambition is if your ambition is to exploit people, to take advantage of people. If your ambition is so great that you forget the spiritual truths of the law of cause and effect, that what you do is going to come back to you, then you want to be careful. But you know what? That's true with anything. That can even be true of the energy of love. Now, not the pure energy of love, but very often we can start out with that energy of love, and the next thing you know, it's really become about wanting to control somebody, or wanting somebody to rescue us, or wanting to have the relationship validate us in some way. And those are all distortions. The same thing with this energy of money and ambition. If you're using money to make yourself feel better about who you are, you're distorting it. If you're gratefully earning a living through helping other people in whatever way, whether you're helping them build a website, whether you're helping them learn to meditate, whatever you're doing, if you're helping people and you're empowering people, then you have already spiritualized your pursuit of money. So you don't have to ever worry about that. And I'm, again, speaking to you as a spiritual entrepreneur and as a light worker. Please do not hold yourself back anymore. The only thing you ever have to ask yourself is, what's my motive? Is my motive to make a difference? Do I want to help people? Will having more resources help me to help more people? Then you're good. And I also just want to say, don't confuse that with thinking, oh, when I'm making money, it can't ever be for my own well-being. That's a fallacy. You're a light worker. You need a lot of self-care. You need a lot of downtime. You probably need to live in a beautiful environment. All of those things are going to affect your energy. All those things are going to affect how effective you are at showing up in the world and being the brightest light that you can be. And so don't hold yourself back if you need to really make more money so that you can have more downtime, so that you can rejuvenate yourself, so that you can go more deeply into your spiritual practices. Maybe one of the things that you do is you need to work with a spiritual teacher who's going to guide you to the next level of your understanding so you can become a stronger teacher. Maybe what you need to do is work with a coach or a mentor who can help you learn how to bring your gifts forward. You're going to need resources to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to read this again. It's a little bit of a trick when I said how to spiritualize money and ambition, because the question implies that perhaps it's not already spiritual. Perhaps money's not already spiritual. Well, money's neutral. Everything in the universe is neutral. It's simply a matter of how do you use it and how is it a tool in your hands? Just like electricity. Is it a tool that's going to light up the city? Or is it a tool that is going to hurt somebody? So, electricity is something that they use to kill people. Is it going to light up the city or is it going to end a life? The electricity is neutral. It's the consciousness of the person that is using it. So let's read it again, because Yogananda is telling us how to spiritualize our consciousness. Once you spiritualize your consciousness, you don't have to worry about money or ambition or relationships or anything, because you will be coming from a consciousness of how can I give, how can I serve, and knowing that you're part of the equation. You're not serving and forgetting about yourself. I mean, that there is a level of that when people are way, way advanced and they've dissolved their egos. But until you're in that place, my friends, do not try to do that, because you'll end up hurting yourself. And I've seen this with a lot of highly sensitive people. You end up being a doormat and people take advantage of you. And so I'm going to read this again to make sure that you understand it. We cannot live happily. Notice that word. We cannot live happily by spiritual sustenance alone. Can't do it. Nor by material prosperity alone. You need both, is what he's saying. It is only by having ambition and by crowning that ambition with the idea of service to others, either by helping them individually or by working for some great cause, that you will find a spiritual reason for making money for yourself and for others. And this is the part I love the most. To help others to help themselves also spiritualizes ambition. And Almighty Power has linked us all together. Whenever you help others, you are helping yourself. So there's no separation here. And it's a really important thing to let yourself take this in, really take this in, that it's not an either or, it's a both. You have to have the ambition, you have to have the drive, you have to have the spark within you first. So I'm asking you today, my friend, can you give yourself permission to follow your ambition, to grow your spiritual healing practice, to write your book and get it published, to grow your business, whatever it might be, to have a goal of blessing millions of people? That's my goal, my ambition. I'm doing it little bit by little bit, but every day I reach more people. That's an ambition. I want to be able to be a channel that blesses millions of people all around the world. Why? Is it just so that I can be famous? No, because I want to bless people. I want people to know that they can magnify their miracles. I want people to know that they can have an experience of the divine presence right where they are. I want to empower people to help themselves to learn how to pray effectively, to learn how to grow their business, to learn how to bring that spiritual energy into every aspect of their lives so that they can then turn around and bless millions of people. And so if I can do that, and then you turn around and you do that, imagine how quickly this world will be transformed. So do not turn away from the energy of money, and do not turn away from that inner ambition, that drive to help people, that drive that you have to be a force for good. I love working with people who have a big vision. They're my favorite people to work with because I know those people are going to take what they learned from me. They're going to take all the great mentoring and all the great energy work and all the great healing, and they're going to go out there and they're going to fulfill their purpose, which automatically means that they're going to be blessing and empowering other people. Even if they don't know exactly how that's going to happen, I love being part of it. It's so amazing. So my friends, I encourage you, please take this message to heart. Let yourself, I should say, give yourself permission to make the kind of money that you really deserve to make, to take excellent care of yourself, to live in a beautiful environment, to contribute to the world and make a difference, to be able to contribute money to the causes that matter to you, and to be able to continue to nourish yourself, body, mind, and spirit, so that you can be the brightest light that you can possibly be. And let your ambition guide you. Let that inner drive guide you. It's a God-given gift that you have it. Let yourself use it in a way that's going to make the biggest impact possible. All right, my friends, thank you so much. As always, if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. And I would love to hear your thoughts about this idea of giving yourself permission to have money and ambition be a part of your spiritual life and your spiritual practice. God bless you, my friends. Bye-bye.